Hello and welcome back to VEDS. Today I wanted to do a quick reaction to the new animated series on Disney+, Star Wars Visions. For those of you who don't know what it is, Star Wars Visions is an animated anthology show that each episode is made by a different anime studio, which is really exciting because this is kind of the first thing we have gotten from Disney Star Wars that breaks away from the brand integrity that they have been pushing since they took over the intellectual property. And yes, there are benefits to having a continuity and a consistent vision for your brand. However, it's always exciting to get a different feel for a franchise and a different, vision of what that franchise could be. But moreover, the original Star Wars was heavily influenced by Japanese samurai films. And so being able to see a film franchise that was inspired by Japanese cinema, now reinterpreted through Japanese animation, is a really cool conversation between the different influences, which is most directly seen in the first episode of Vision, The Duelist, which is basically Star Wars, but in a Akira Kurosawa movie. It's Seven Samurai or Yojimbo, but with lightsabers. From the character designs to the framings to just the small conceits in the episode, like having to fix a droid before a pot boils, it all feels very classic samurai in a really fun way for people who, like me, really enjoy old samurai films, and I imagine for people who are not familiar with them, it's a fun introduction using this familiar Western franchise. And the episodes are able to get away with this heightened emotion through the action that is kind of very familiar to anime that is not as familiar in American animation. I noticed this in episode 3, The Twins, which, full disclosure, I didn't really like, but I definitely respect it. The premise is basically that there are two twins who have been raised to be very powerful dark side users, and eventually one of them kind of breaks away from this and the two of them fight while standing on top of a Star Destroyer. And it's, full of very questionable moments that you can't get away with live action, but also you just wouldn't have the opportunity to see in American animation because it throws logic aside so that the emotion of this conflict between the two characters can be expressed in very over-the-top and stylized action. Another cool thing about that episode is that it takes a lot of visual iconography and motifs from Star Wars and kind of remixes those within the plot. You have a stand-in for Luke, R2, C-3PO, kind of a mix between Leia and Vader. It's kind of Death Star. They land on Tatooine at one point, but it all feels different enough, and it feels kind of like an alternate universe version of Star Wars, which they are only able to get away with because they are not bogged down with the need to put this somewhere in a grand timeline of canon, which to me personally is very refreshing and is actually beneficial for those stories that do fit into the continuity and the brand integrity, because it means that I am less likely to get tired of those stories because I am also getting these kind of supplemental, more imaginative, different, varied stories. Now, I haven't finished this series yet, but just so far, from the few episodes I've seen, even if all the other episodes were bad, it would have been worth it just to get these couple episodes, because in every single one, there has been something imaginative and something that made me think about Star Wars in a different way. And if you're a Star Wars fan, I definitely suggest checking it out. If you don't vibe with an episode within the first couple minutes, then just skip to the next one, because none of the episodes I've watched have been remotely similar to each other. So I'm sure that any Star Wars fan can find something to like here. And with that being said, I'm curious if you have seen Visions and if you are going to watch it, whether or not that's because you're a Star Wars fan or because you just think the concept's interesting, or maybe you're a Star Wars fan and you're a little bit hesitant about it. I'm curious to hear that perspective too. So leave any thoughts down in the comments below, and friends and fellow VEDSies, I will see you tomorrow.